Let's talk about this with former FBI special agent and legal analyst Asha Rangappa and former federal prosecutor Shan Wu. Okay, so Shan, let me begin with you. Is there any precedent for this?
I'm not aware of any precedent, and I haven't had a chance to actually look at the complaint, but from what little I've seen of it, what's interesting is the president suing in his personal capacity as opposed to having White House counsel do anything. And they're seeking declaratory and injunctive relief. What's important about that is for the injunctive relief to occur, and an injunction is something which blocks an action or forces an action, they're going to have to show, they have to do a preliminary injunction first, and that standard requires them to show a substantial likelihood of success. So it's going to be decided very quickly on that legal issue, and I think he's going to have a tough uphill battle on that point, because I think it's hard to challenge the legitimacy of Congress's oversight ability.
Okay, and so to that point, this is again filed in district court in D.C., Asha, in terms of the legitimacy here of this, congressional reach or ask, if you will. Here's what the Trump Organization said. Our Christina Leshy just got a statement from Trump Org General Counsel Alan Garten, quote, "It's an unprecedented overreach of congressional authority." Suppose that's going to be up to the courts. Is it?
Well, I think I agree with Shan that this is going to be an uphill battle for the president for three reasons. So first of all, Congress has the power to tax under the Constitution, which also gives them oversight power over, tax fraud, tax evasion, enforcement of the tax laws. But more specifically, this particular law was passed in 1924, the law that they are requesting these tax returns under, after a major scandal called the Teapot Dome scandal, which involved corruption within the executive branch. And the idea here was to create the ability for Congress to be able to see tax returns of public officials to identify potential conflicts of interest or issues that are compromising their behavior, which is exactly what's going on here. And the third reason is, these are third-party records. They belong to a law or an accounting firm. These are not coming from Trump or the IRS himself, and so there could be a standing issue on whether he can actually stop these from coming out.
Oh, that's interesting. Even though they are his returns or his corporation's returns, since they've been, farmed out, if you will, to an outside accounting firm, will he have standing? Well, that's really interesting. Shan, so there's the president as a a civilian and a citizen and the personal side there, and then there's him in the office. Is there a distinction here on what they can, where they may have more, Congress may have more of this authority to request him, during his time in office than beforehand? I'm just wondering if you think the courts will see that separately, and or will they see the president himself personally and the Trump org records separately?
I think there is a distinction, but I think it's actually going to hurt the president because, as Asha was pointing out, that particular law is passed so Congress can look into these issues, and this is the perfect setting for it. And the fact that he's a sitting president, I think, only adds to the oversight authority. And as an atmospheric, when the court looks at that, I think they're going to look at this differently than if, Congress was like subpoenaing some shop owner's records and the shop owner is saying this is a terrible invasion of my privacy. Trump, by nature of his office, there's a very strong public interest in it. And of course, some of these themes with the potential conflicts of interest also go along with the whole emoluments clause lawsuit that's going on as well. So I think all that's going to weigh in favor of Congress being able to use the law.